Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone. It's always such a joy to be here with you, and I mean that sincerely, and welcome to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. And as you just heard, we're broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Always a great and much thanks to them. You can find them live on every social media platform practically, as well as on FM radio, 105.3 FM on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Please join us in one of the various chat rooms to connect with our hosts and our guests. We love hearing from you. We love your comments. We love your questions. And remember, if you're having a bad day, you can say what I say, which always works for me, which is everything is fine in this now moment, and the universe always works in my favor, even though at times it doesn't seem to. It truly does. So today we have a wonderful conversation with someone who has been on this podcast before, Carmen Turner Schott. She is the author of, let me hold up her book, Phoenix and Angels. It was a great read. We're going to be discussing this topic today with some great detail, and you can find all of her. Let me get the banner up and running. You can find everything about her that you would like to know at carmenturnerschott.com. You can find that link in all of the social media platforms as well. So we're going to be talking about this book, of course, and how we live in this space where breakdown becomes initiation and awakening is born through fire. And it often is. And that's why I started off saying that sometimes things may seem rough, but change is eventually going to happen. And you just have to keep trying. Just keep on, keep trucking. And we're going to explore Phoenix energy and angelic forces in times of awakening, and how astrology, specifically the 8th and 12th houses, maps the moments where life strips us down to something truer, and so that something truer can rise up. These are the chapters of existence that most people fear. Yet, they're often where purpose, protection, and profound spiritual clarity are found. And I love that. Astrology has really resurfaced into the zeitgeist, and it's become probably more prevalent now than I've experienced. And I've taken a huge interest in it as of late. So I'm excited to welcome Carmen Turner Schott. She is the author of this book, as I just showed you, Phoenixes and Angels. And Carmen's works gives us language to experience things that many people endure in silence: loss, suffering, rebirth, all essential, important things, and the unseen guidance that carries us through them. So, Carmen, let me bring you on stage here, and thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed our last conversation.
Yeah.
And you've written so many great books. And as I just showed folks, we're going to be talking about Phoenixes, and I love this book, Phoenixes and Angels.
Thank you. It's my favorite one.
It's your favorite too. Oh,
Yes.
wow. Yeah, it was just so gripping in so many ways. And like, I'm going to go back through it again and start underlining and do all the things that
Thank you.
destroy books. But I just can't help it. So you're going to see me say hello, of course, to folks as they pop in. Michelle, always such a blessing, dear one, to have you here. Carrie, oh my gosh, Show wouldn't be the same without you. Heidi, my star sister. She is my star sister. We just clicked. She's my star sis. So many others, but Carrie, definitely a star sister as well. Michelle, too. All these great people. Who's this? Omni Soul. I've seen Alien Grays. Best thing ever. Oh my gosh. We're going to have to dig into that a little more. That's awesome. That's awesome. I've heard so many people saying that they've been witnessing contact with like orbs and ET.
Sure.
It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe we could kind of punch into that topic a little bit too, Carmen.
Absolutely. That's what got me into astrology, was seeing an orb when I was in high school. Matter of fact. So we can dig into this. This sounds good.
Absolutely. Freaking love it.
So.
Yes. Much love, Carrie. So I want, for folks that didn't get a chance, and I'm going to link our other conversation because it was great. We had so much good feedback on that conversation, and I'll put a link to that where, in case folks missed it. But if you can tell us about yourself,
sure,
how you started this journey, and how you got to write so many amazing books. You're like really one of the most prolific people in the field of astrology. There's always so many good things said about you on the internet.
Thank you. I love that. I'm wanting to reach as many people as I can that have these unexplained mystical and spiritual experiences, because it all kind of started for me when I was little, and I was born in the Midwest in the Bible Belt, where I was not raised to even know what any of these things were, but I was born different. This is what I say. I just knew and had this deep intuition, and I would dream things that would happen. I would sleepwalk. I would wake my parents up at night, tell them that, I felt like somebody was in my room and that I was afraid of the dark. I had to have nightlight, all that. And when I got in high school, I had two major experiences that changed my life. So the first was I had a traumatic event where one of my friends was accidentally shot and killed when I was 16.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And very eighth house. At the time, I didn't know that I had planets in the eighth house because I didn't know astrology at the time. I was 16. And so I lost her. She had just stayed the night at my house, and it was some boys had got a gun and passed it around the town. It's a long story. Way before we had internet. This was like 1993.
Yeah.
And they thought they had all the bullets out. They just didn't know how, and they did something. They mistake. It was a tragic accident. It wasn't, meant to happen. But she passed away, and I never had anyone that I was close to ever die. Had never been to a funeral, but I always was afraid of death. I had this natural thing where, what happens when I die? Where do I go? I always had these weird thoughts, and I thought, why am I thinking about this stuff? Like most kids, aren't thinking about this stuff. Yeah. So I always knew I was a little different than my friends and family, but I just was me, and so one night that same year, I played sports. So I played basketball, and I came home from a game, and I always had to have my bed facing the door with the door open with the nightlight on because I didn't like sleeping. And it was the house I grew up in. I've been able to sleep in the dark now, depending on the land. I think there was some haunting. There was some stuff going on. I was just sensitive. Yeah. Now I know that I'm older. I was sensitive to activity going on the land, I think it was. So anyway, I woke up. I kind of fell asleep, woke up, and I was wide awake. It wasn't a sleep paralysis thing. I've researched all this. I was awake. I look, and there's a glowing ball of light in my doorway, orb, and it was yellow, translucent, like water floating there. And I was terrified, of course, because I was 16 and it was the unknown. And I tried to yell. I tried to scream for my mother, but it's like it froze me. So I had no voice. I had no voice, and I'm like trying to yell, and I couldn't move. I was paralyzed. Like I knew I couldn't move, but I was completely aware, completely awake mentally. So I could control my mind. That's the only thing I could control. So I kept saying, please don't come in my room. Please don't come in my room. And it just floated there in the door sill, never came inside my room. And it would fly down the hall, come right back and hang there. And it was bigger than a softball. and it looked like it was water, like you could see through it, like glowing yellow,
Yeah, like a real orb.
like
Yeah.
it was an orb, guys. And so then I watched it, and our house was really small, so my parents' room was right across from my door, so they could see into my door sill. If I was able to speak, I was trying to wake my mother up because my dad and brother were on a fishing trip that week, and it was just me and my mom in the house. And after hours of laying there, it finally released me, and I yell, "Mom, look in my doorway. And do you see it?" And she's like, "Yes, she saw it too," which is the first time my mother ever believed me about stuff.
Yeah.
Because she's like, "Just your imagination, go back to sleep." That's what I heard my whole life. I said, she goes, "Maybe someone shining a flashlight." And I'm like, "No, it has form." I mean, she was trying to rationalize it, right?
Of
And,
course.
and she's like, "Just go back to sleep." I'm like, "No." She goes, "Maybe it's a lightning bug." And she didn't get up, and I was too afraid to get up. And so I lay there until I think I passed out from exhaustion because I was
Yeah.
terrified. Woke up the next day, and we went in the kitchen, and she said, "That was not a lightning bug. I don't know
Yeah.
what that was." And after that, I started studying spirit guides and angels. And my mother had a friend at work that was into Eckankar. I don't know if you remember that. Eckankar back in the 90s. It was like a
Mhm.
spiritual, kind of like theosophy. They studied angels and all this stuff. She gave my mom a little book about spirit guides or something. But no one ever told me what an orb was. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that was the first time I saw something I could not explain. Now, because of that, I went to a little mystical bookstore in St. Louis, Missouri, and I started buying all kinds of books about the pyramids and aliens and UFOs and all this stuff because I was always into that stuff, but I didn't know why. No one ever
Right.
taught me until I found astrology, and then it totally validated why I was the way I was. That
Yeah.
there was nothing wrong with me, that I was born with these abilities or these awarenesses because it's my birth chart. And that's when astrology became my passion. When I was 16, I taught myself how to do it. I was doing charts by hand, and
Wow.
and back in the old day, we didn't have computers that did, I would draw it, I'd do the longitude latitude. It took me hours to do one chart. I mean, it was awful. I mean, today you can pop out 3 a day, quick or whatever, with
Sure.
computer software. But did that a lot. And that same year, I saw orbs again. So I've only seen orbs 3 times in my life. I've shared this on some other podcasts. The second time was that same year after I started studying astrology and everything. And I still never found a book about orbs back then. So I didn't know it was an orb. I just thought it was a spirit or it was
Yeah.
something. And so I ended up looking, playing basketball. And it was the last game of my senior year in high school. Long story short, I was a 3-point shooter. So I got fouled. We were on TV. The police were there. The place was packed. And they fouled me with like 30 seconds left. And I had to figure out, am I going to make these free throws so we either win or lose the game? Okay, this was like a big deal. And when I got on the free throw line to shoot, when they handed me the ball,
Yeah.
I saw these hands and people screaming. Well, I looked at the rim and I saw 3 orbs go
Wow.
across the rim, back and forth, very distinct. And I'm like, whoa. And at that time, I felt like I wasn't in my body. It's like I was floating. And I know it sounds strange. And I was looking over to the bench, and my coach was yelling at me because I guess I was acting strange. No, I didn't know what I was at looked like. I just knew I was seeing these 3 orbs, and I'm like, I can't feel my legs. But they handed me the ball. I made both baskets. The timer goes, we win. It was like one of the best nights of my life. Okay. But I feel like those orbs were helping me make the
Maybe
baskets.
they absolutely were. Yeah.
And I'm telling you. And so my mother knew it was weird too. She said, "You were acting strange out there." And we had this whole conversation. And I said, "Yeah, I saw the same kind of look that the one was in my doorway was the same, but 3 of them." And so after that, I started really getting into astrology, and I started realizing I had 8th and 12th house planets. And there wasn't a lot of books in the 90s about the 8th and 12th houses. The ones that were out there were scary. Like people were like, "You're going to die young," or "You're going to be,
Oh, geez.
you're going to lose everything and end up bankrupt, and depressed in a mental ward." I mean, it was like really negative stuff. And I was like, this doesn't make sense. Because my biggest thing I used to do was dream. That same year, I started dreaming things that happen. And I'm going to be honest with you, it started after I saw the orb. I always was sensitive and felt energy and had a connection to, I
Yeah.
believe, the other side. I always had that, which was my eighth house, connected to death. I was. I didn't know what that meant at the time till I got older, because I had a lot of experiences with that. But I knew that there was something about me. But I started dreaming things that would happen, and the very first time it happened, it was after I saw the orb. And it was that same year that I saw the three orb, the same year, it was senior year. I dreamed exactly something that happened with my neighbor. He called me on the phone. He was crying. I was in
Oh,
in my bedroom. The whole thing played out. He comes down the hill in real life. The exact dream happened. I'm like, okay, I just dreamed this last night. What is this? So these experiences led me to become obsessed with the eighth and 12th houses in astrology. So I started doing charts with people in undergrad. I was a psychology major. I wanted to be a social worker therapist. So I was doing charts in graduate school for other students for fun. I mean, I was just at 19. I was doing astrology donation. I didn't have, my business going yet, but I started doing a business because people were like, we want to pay you. And I'm like, oh, I didn't feel right taking money back in the day, and they're like, no, they're crying, how helpful it was. And I started seeing these patterns with people that had 12th and 8th house planets, the
yeah.
same patterns. And, with the 12th house, there's often a feeling of an absent missing parent. Like if the sun or moon is there, like it can be like an absent missing father figure, addiction of the parent, maybe divorce, things like that. If the moon is there, the child often feels like there's a role reversal, that they have to take care of their mother because the moon is associated with the mother, or the mother struggled or had maybe anxiety or different issues, that child felt like they had to parent the mother, but they're a close bond. But when the
Mm,
sun is there, people would say, I didn't know my dad, or I didn't have a dad, or my dad and I are emotionally detached. There's not a bond there. Very common with people with the sun in the 12th house. And how common it is that I did a research study, a quantitative study. I looked at 100 charts because I've been seeing this in thousands of people throughout the 30 years. I've been doing this 30 years now. But I started really looking at it and getting random submissions, anonymous, have them answer 5 questions. Have you experienced these patterns? And tell me what happened. Out of 100 charts, 99.9% say yes to all of the patterns.
wow.
Which means, and I'll tell you what the patterns are.
Yeah.
So, feeling of an absent missing parent.
Now,
Uh,
are you talking about the 8th and 12th house
the 12th
specifically?
house,
Like
the
the
12th
12th.
house.
Okay, and
Yeah.
then you'll explain the 8th, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So the 12th house is, um, you know, a feeling of an absent missing parent, or you feel different, like you feel like you're an alien. You feel like you're not from Earth. You feel like you're adopted, like your family is not, like, what am I doing in this? Like, am I really hers?
Absolutely.
And you start feeling like you just know you're different. And that's why I call 12th house people angels or fallen angels. And fallen angels, I have a book, The Mysteries of 12th House, Fallen Angels, too. It's a separate book. And then I have The Mysteries of the 8th House, Phoenix Rising. And then I have Phoenix as an Angels, where I merge them both. It's kind of my newer work. But the 12th house, we often find that we lack boundaries between ourselves and others. And that's because Pisces energy is associated with the 12th house. So we're very empathic. We feel other people's pain. So guess what
Oh,
happens? One of the patterns is we attract people that have problems, people that have
gospel truth.
pain, people that need to be healed, people that need fixed, people that want to use us, people that want to suck our energy. Sometimes we have to learn when people are, not good. We see the good in everyone, kind of idealistic. And we
God, you
see
described me to a T, and I'm a Pisces too, and
that's
I'm an
why,
empath. Yeah,
yeah,
you
you're an
covered the
angel.
whole.
You're a 12th houser, man, like me.
Absolutely.
So you start feeling this. And and when I was growing up, the other thing I would feel is I would feel like I was in a dream. Like if I was in a group, a lot of 12th house people feel like if they're in a group of people and like a concert or come out of a movie theater or in a class with a lot of people, they feel a loss of boundaries between themselves and others. It's like, am I awake? Am I dreaming? They have these like depersonalization experiences where they kind of detach from their body, or they
Yeah.
go somewhere deep in their mind, like it's very different level of consciousness,
Yeah.
imagination, they zone out. When I was growing up in school, I was so bored. I would they even label a lot of 12th house people that we're not smart or we don't do good in school, but that's not it. It's that we have to have something that's gets our attention. That's
Absolutely.
interesting. So I used to daydream. Heck yeah, I would zone out the window in math. I hated math and I hated,
Me too.
and they label me and they put you in special class, and then it's like it's just, they don't teach you the way you need to be taught.
Absolutely.
I was bored, and so I'm daydreaming, zoning out the window. I mean, because I wasn't interested. So we like to go in our imagination. We like there's a need for solitude, a need
Yes.
for alone time. Like we have to have time alone to recover because we absorb everything going on in big crowds and with people, and we take on people's stuff easily. And I realized that about myself, and I would just attract people that weren't the best partners. I had Venus, the planet of love, in the 12th house conjunct my sun, so I had these relationship karma, like always getting with people that either were very unhealthy, or they were lying to me and they would cheat, or they were not abusive, or just not good. But
Yeah.
I would only see the good in them. And so that was kind of, my journey. But a lot of 12th house people, they're very psychic, very sensitive. They usually have dreams that happen. They
Oh, yeah.
usually get messages through their dreams. And that's Pisces as well, because Pisces is 12th house. And after 100 charts, all 100 said yes, that at least once in their life they had a dream,
Oh,
because
yeah.
12th house rules sleep and dreams. Okay, it rules the different levels of consciousness. It rules the collective unconscious, like Carl Jung talked about, where we're all connected. That's 12th house. It's 12th house people. Let me tell you what was told to me, and I kind of, it woke me up. The
Yeah.
first time I ever had an astrologer look at my chart, because I never had anyone else look at it, because I memorized it and everything. But I thought I'm gonna go and see what someone says. So he said, your sun is in the 12th house. I was like 19 when this happened. He said, your son is in the 12th house. Anything you put before God will get taken away from you. That's what
What?
he said. Yes. I'm like, what? And that's because a lot of the ancient in the old texts, like people didn't know. Still today, people come to me. They find me now because they know that I do research in this. A lot of astrologers feel uncomfortable with the 8th and 12th houses because unless you've lived it and you actually understand it because you have it in your own chart, it's hard to explain it to someone.
Yeah.
And so that's I would say my forte is the 8th and 12th houses, and that's
Oh,
why I do
wonderful.
my books. And most of my clients I call them phoenixes and angels. They find me and they have 8th and 12th house planets, and they see my workshops and they're like, oh my gosh, I resonated with this. And it's based on all of my personal experience. So, and 12th house people are meant to serve others. They're meant to be spiritual. They're naturally spiritual because they have this one foot in the mystical, one foot. So what it is
Absolutely.
it's the house of invisibility. It is what a lot of people, we call it, where a lot of 12th house people feel like people don't notice them, or they don't recognize their talents, or they just ignore
Spot
them, or
on.
I'll be on a Zoom, like at my last job, I'd be in there and everyone is supposed to introduce themselves. They just skip me. They don't even know I'm in there. Or I'm in the office and they're, oh, I didn't know you were sitting there. And what it is, it's our energy is on a different vibration than most people.
You know
It's
what
like,
it's like? It's like we wear a cloak of invisibility
yes,
intentionally. I think
yes,
it's intentional. I really do.
protect
From my
ourselves. Yes,
perspective, I really feel that it's a protective measure
yeah.
that we learn to implement. Go on.
So it's like we just we walk in two worlds, and what happens is people are drawn to the 12th house energy for healing. There's something about our energy, our vibration, that they're drawn, and they want to share, and they want to tell their problems, and they may not even, it's the shadow. And what happens is they typically feel very vulnerable once they talk to us or come around us. And if they can't handle that intensity,
Exactly.
they betray us and they push us away, and then we feel like we have these secret enemies, is what a lot of people tell me in my group. I have a 12th house astrology group, and a lot of the theme is, why do I have these secret enemies? Why are people jealous of me? They have these things that happen that hurt them, and it has to do with people. And so I tell them, it's not so much that they're secret enemies, it's that they are not able to look at themselves and see themselves and work
Exactly.
with
They can't
themselves.
handle it.
It's
Yeah.
too much. And
Yeah.
our energy, it doesn't matter how nice you are, how you can walk on water and do everything for someone, and you will have people that will hate you. And it's not that you did anything, it's your energy. And this is what 12th house people often have to learn. They get their feelings hurt easily. They get people that they feel are in competition with them or hurt them. And it's part of us becoming it makes us stronger. I mean, it really does. And what it is, it teaches us to have boundaries. And that's
Yeah,
what happened to me. It's like I have to have a boundary, because Pisces is the fish flapping out in the water. They don't have a protection, where the shell of, Cancer has a shell. They can protect itself. Scorpio has a sting. It can kill you if you get closer. Pisces don't have a lot of protection. That's why they're known to be compassionate and idealistic and addiction prone. They like to escape from the world and escape from pain and problems. And they want.
blame us?
I know, right?
Rough
So
out there.
so 12th house people, whenever I see any planets in the 12th house, it's also the house of secrets. And the eighth house, what I'm saying about the 12th house, guys, it's similar with the eighth when we get there, but it's a different kind of secrets. They both have to do with secrets. They both have to do with being behind the scenes, like hiding, okay, in a way. But the 12th house secrets are secrets that we are completely blinded by. We really don't see it because it's Neptune, foggy, elusive. We don't know, or it's like eighth house secrets, we know. Eighth house, we see the secrets, we call it out, and we become the scapegoat for the family or whatever, because we notice things going and we bring it up, and then we're punished for seeing the truth. And so we tend to hide, and then we don't share what we repress what we feel, those psychic and those intuition. So you hide it. And then but we always know the secrets. Eighth house is ruled by Scorpio Pluto. Everything in Pandora's box comes out. Everything hidden in secret, the shadow, is revealed. Where 12th house, you feel a little lost sometimes. Like you can get fooled, and you can get where you trust people too easily. Eighth house people don't trust people very easily. They're guarded because they have Scorpio that says, I don't feel right about this. I'm going to protect myself till I really trust them. Where 12th house is like, I love and trust everyone, love and harmony. Everybody's like me. And oh my gosh, you just think everybody's like you. But they're not. And so there's a little bit of a different lesson with the secret part. But 12th house people often, they often go into psychology, social work, counseling, spiritual work, energy healing, astrology, tarot, you name it, mediumship. But mediumship is often found in the eighth house. People that have mediumship abilities, connecting to the dead. Being connected to death is one of the major patterns of the eighth house.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And what that is they can sense spirits. They can connect to deceased loved ones, but a lot of times it comes through their dreams, where they dream of, like for me, I dreamed of both my grandmothers before they died. They came in my dream, and I knew they were going to die, and they did the next day. And they communicated with me. So it can come through your dreams. It can come through, some people see them in their mind very vividly. They can feel it. Everyone uses different, has different psychic abilities, but eighth house people are connected to the dead. And what does this mean? They usually lose a loved one at a young age, or something with death and loss and trauma and grief. affects their life in a deep way. Sometimes, very rarely do I find people that say no to this. So I just did a research study of about 100 charts, and I'm like, okay, have you lost a loved one at a young age? You know, someone close to you. How did that impact you? Could be a pet, could be, a family
Sure.
member. A lot of times it's a parent. A lot of
Yeah.
times, not always. It can be a spouse at some time in our life. It may not happen in our young or early years. It can sometimes play out midlife or later life as well, but there's always something that awakens you to, what am I doing here? Why am I alive? What is the purpose of my life? That's what it means. And death as well. I did 100 charts. Two people out of 100 said, I haven't lost someone close to me at a young age. Maybe, I had grandparents, I didn't know them, whatever. But when I started digging deeper with them, I'm like, did you feel like your life went through death and rebirth experiences where you emotionally, mentally changed who you were, how you felt about things? They said yes. That fits, because death is transformation and rebirth.
Absolutely.
And regeneration. That's eighth house, Phoenix energy. It's so eighth house people, I call them Phoenixes, because they often go through these feelings where they are like, they wake up one day and they like something died. That's the only way I know how to explain it. It happened to me my whole life. And I would give away my clothes. I remember I was like giving away all my wardrobe. I'm like, I don't want any of this anymore. And I'm giving away stuff in college. And I just did this last year. I totally walked away from a job of 25 years because I literally was in the kitchen and it's like, you're done. It's dead. You're done.
So you can have a mixture of both
Yeah, if
in your
you may have planets in both. I'd have to see your birth chart. So for those listening, you can go to astro.com, and you're going to need your date of birth and year, month, day, year, your exact time of birth. AM or PM is very important. The time will show what house the planets are in on your day and place, and then place of birth, city, state, country, and you'll get what's a wheel, and it's a bunch of symbols if you haven't seen your chart before. And the houses are numbered 1 through 12, and you'll be able to see if there's any symbols, which is how the chart is symbolic. So you'll see what symbols and what planets are in the 8th or 12th if you have that. But also, I always share with people. Also, if you have Pisces, Scorpio strong in your birth chart, I also call you a phoenix and an angel. So you may not have exact planets in those 8th and 12th, but you have a lot of Pisces rising, Pisces sun, stellium, and Scorpio. It can play out where you resonate with my phoenix and angel in work. And I always see it in the chart. Why? And then, when I did my research, because science, it's different. They wanted me to look at stelliums. They wanted to say, we need 3 or more planets in a house to be able to say that this is a statistical event. And I'm like, I disagree, because people have these patterns with Scorpio Pisces energy and no placements in the 8th or 12th. And they also have it when they have one planet in the 8th or 12th. You don't have to have a stellium, but I did do research where I only looked at charts with 3 or more planets in the 8th. But I still argue, because everyone with the sun there, moon there, they feel the pattern.
Yeah.
So
What's that website again? Astral.com?
Astro. Yeah, astro.com.
Astro.com. Okay.
Astro.com. It's the better one. There's some others out there, but astro.com is better. And then if you want me to send you your wheel, feel free to email me through my website, carmenturnerschott.com. Contact me. You can send me a contact, send me your birth info, and I'll email you your birth wheel for free. You don't have to pay me. I'll send it to you.
Oh, wonderful. That's so nice.
Because I have mine. It's easy for me to do. And then, the thing is that 8th and 12th house people are here to help others. The 8th house is also the house of trauma. And the trauma can come in different ways. It's the house of healing. Phoenixes, it's like in Harry Potter, when the phoenix, bird, it died in front of Harry Potter, and Dumbledore says it's about time. 8th house people tend to hold on to things and repress them. They absorb them. It starts affecting their health. It starts affecting them. So they finally have to shed. and let go. And it's like a death and rebirth throughout, emotionally, energetically, mentally, and they feel like a different person. But they have to go through the dark times to rise up as a phoenix stronger. So the eighth house, I call it the house of resiliency. What does that mean? That means you can, when you bend something, it doesn't break. And that's eighth house. I have so many stories from eighth house people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Most people have never lived through the things that eighth house people have experienced.
Yeah.
It is a lot of intense stuff, and they are very strong, resilient people. They may have been rock bottom and felt depressed and thought, how am I ever going to get out of this? But they end up rising up as a phoenix, and they come out of it stronger. And then most eighth house people have a gift of healing. So they end up being wounded healers, where they help other people that have been through similar experiences because they've been through it. They understand it. So they're drawn to psychology, counseling, social work, astrology, detective work, FBI, CIA, solving crimes, anything hidden, anything secretive, anything taboo, sex, death, intimacy. It's other people's resources is the eighth house. So the goods of the dead, the land of the dead, people's debts, working with other people's money. So you'll find people that are financial bankers or on Wall Street that are dealing with, or lawyers that are dealing with wills and estates. That's all eighth house. And it's how when you have planets in the eighth house, it can show where you benefit through your partner, through other people's money and resources, and how they help you. Where the second house is your own money. It's the money house, how you make money. But the eighth house, your money and your possessions are often tied to other people and how what they give and benefit you. So an example I give is my my moon and Jupiter and Chiron are in the eighth house in Aries. Well, my grandparents, so my moon is there. My maternal grandparents really helped me a lot financially, emotionally, in every way. They were really like parents to me. And I always wondered why. And that astrology validated that for me, because I used to feel guilty that they did so much for me. But it was like, you're meant to benefit through the maternal side of the family. If the son is there, it can be through the paternal, the father side.
Right.
Ooh, an important thing. These two houses are also linked to ancestral karma. So this is one, especially the 12th and 8th, but the 12th specifically. People that have planets in 8th and 12th, they often are the person in the family that breaks the pattern of abuse or breaks the pattern of dysfunction, or calls it out into the light for the family. So there's healing along the whole ancestral line. So I did a little video about it, ancestral healing in the 12th house, because you'll see, I meet so many people, like their father was an alcoholic, his father was an alcoholic. Because 12th house is really about addiction.
Yeah.
The 12th house and Pisces people have to be careful about using drugs and alcohol to escape and numb themselves, because they are so sensitive. And they use it to relax or to still their anxiety or to sleep. There's all these reasons they self-medicate is the danger of the 12th house. Okay.
Also, it helps you dig deeper into your spirituality. That's why a lot of people do DMT and stuff like that.
Yes.
Ayahuasca, all that stuff, because it elevates them. Yeah.
Yes. And they're drawn to those feelings of altered states. 12th house people are. Yeah. To mind, like to escape into so I always say, let's find healthy ways to do it. As long as you don't get addicted where it becomes a crutch and you can't function in the real world, there needs to be a balance.
Well, it's like that with anything. You could have a glass of wine with dinner, and as long as it's not, getting in the way of your work, your life, it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. With all this insight that astrology gives us, does it accurately predict like future events, things we need to watch? Like, how does that work with the 8th and the 12th?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So this is the thing I always say too, in my book, Your Astrological Energy, We have all 12 signs in our birth chart somewhere. We have all 12 houses. And so we can learn to harness the energy of all of this stuff. We can do it. Thank you, Hillbilly Herb. I have a code. I have a code for those listening. I plan it's Phoenix Angel, capital P HOENIX, capital ANGEL, and you can get 50% off a consult with me. So you can go to my website, Phoenix Angel, put the code in, click the check mark. It'll get you 50% off an hour or 90-minute session with me. You can book right on the site.
So awesome, Carmen. Thank you. You never even told me that. That's great.
Yeah, I was a surprise. I created a special code for Phoenix and Angel. Yeah, for those listening tonight. And love to do your chart. Love to see what energy. So back to this. So I have to look at your birth chart, and then I can look at your transit chart. And what that is I take a picture of the sky right now, and it's like I put it on the wheel on the outside of your birth chart. I start seeing where are there any planets in Scorpio? Are there any planets in Pisces? Are there any planets transiting the 8th and 12th? If there are, it will bring out the same patterns that I'm talking about. Okay. It will trigger and unleash deep healing. So I just did a chart for someone this morning that had a stellium of 6 planets transiting her 12th house. She has felt so tired and just emotional and lost, like she doesn't have the energy to do things. It's because of the transits. And I validate that, and I tell you how long it's going to last. I can see how long, until these, the signs change, different energies. And so a lot of times when someone's telling me something, I see it play out in the transit chart. Wow. This is why, and I just validate what you already feel. I'm not making up anything because it's science. You're being affected by the energy of the planets based on your birth chart. It's bottom line. So I can see if things going through the 8th house. So like right now, I've got Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries, hitting my moon, Jupiter, and Chiron in Aries in my 8th house. What has it done? I lost my grandfather end of October. He passed away unexpectedly.
Right. I remember that.
The whole family thing, it brought up all kinds of healing with my mother, issue, conflict, tension, Aries energy, with the mother figure, because it was my moon, and just working through that because we both were really close with him, right? And it was just a lot of uncomfortable work, and I call it growth, because when you have planets go through the 8th and 12th, you're forced to grow, you're forced to heal, you're forced to forgive, let go. Especially 8th house is about healing and forgiveness and releasing. You have to do it. And it's hard, and you have to change, and it can bring up old wounds, and you can feel a little raw when planets are transiting these 2 houses, but just know it will pass, because transits don't last forever. Okay. Some of them last long time, which seems like forever, like the outer planets, like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune. They last a long time through every area of life. And so we talk about ways to handle that, tips. I give you things like, this is what your lessons are, you're learning. So it's, we chose to go through these transits because we chose when we were born. So we chose the moment, time, place of birth that our soul wanted to come in. And it's the map. It's like we take a picture of the sky at the moment, time, place, your birth. We put it on a piece of paper. It's a wheel with symbols, but it is the map of your soul. It is why you came here.
So you can help people prevent future issues that they might be confronting, how to deal with it emotionally.
Absolutely.
Why is it that, it's so funny because people that are not into astrology really always look to see when Mercury is retrograding. That's like the big thing. And
that's the easy one. That's the one that I typically, I get people believing. When I used to at my job, I would have the Mercury retrograde dates hung up in my cubicle, and I used to work for the Air Force. Okay. So, and I did sexual assault prevention response. So I worked with trauma survivors, but I worked among military and all kinds of people. But I'd say, guys, be careful sending this email, be a little, watch what you say in writing. People misinterpret it, misrepresent you, or take it personal when you didn't mean
Yeah.
it. Just be a little cautious because Mercury's retrograde, and they kind of laugh me, oh, Carmen's a weird, hippie, whatever. Well, then eventually they'd be coming to me, is Mercury retrograde? I'm like, yeah.
That's
And they
so
started
funny.
believing in it, right? And I'm like, I love this. And they're, Carmen, what's going on? Is there a full moon? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, that's so
because
funny.
when I was a crisis counselor, I worked with crisis teens. This is when I first got out of graduate school, and this was 1999. Okay, and I had a beeper. I'd be called out to police stations because there'd be teenagers that were refusing to return home with their guardian, or the parents kicked them out.
Yeah.
I go to the police station, and so every weekend, whenever there was a full moon weekend or any full moon, and we were on call, I warned everybody it's going to be busy, because there's research in this.
Oh, yeah.
Law enforcement, ER docs, ER nurses,
Absolutely.
more people have domestic disputes and fights and accidents during the full moon than any other time every month. More police reports, more craziness happens because the moon affects our emotions. The tides of the ocean, it affects us.
Absolutely.
And so the quickest way to get a skeptic, I've had a lot of skeptics challenge me. I've had hate mail. I've had Christians write me that I'm going to hell and all this stuff. And what they don't know is that I'm very spiritual, and I was a Christian. I'm a Christian mystic at heart. Okay. So I know that astrology is in the Bible. And so I've researched this my whole life because I struggle with my own journey in doing this work.
Of course.
I've been there, done that. I'm not going to have any guilt anymore. This is real, and this is a tool of self-awareness.
Your passion comes right through the screen. It comes right through the screen. I love what Hillbilly Herb said. Sometimes it's just enough to know that it was written in the stars and out of our hands. Yeah. That is so brilliant and so true, right? Because isn't surrendering a part of healing too?
Absolutely. Yes.
So astrology helps you know, like, when you need, like, just wait it out, like you said before. Just surrender to it. This too shall pass, right?
Absolutely. It's just energy. That's why it works. That's why it's accurate. It's energy, just like everything is energy. And when you meet someone, it got to where I practice this. So in my mind, I'm a Virgo, and I am very practical. Like, I'm very, I love to learn. I love to help people, but I'm also kind of practical too. I'm very out there at times, but I also can be very practical. So I start practicing. I would meet people and I would try to sense their rising sign. I'd sense their try to figure out what's their sun, moon, and rising. I would do this little test. They didn't know I was doing it. I'd be around them a while, I'd fill it out, and then when they'd talk to me or get close, they'd say something and it would validate me, or they would find out what I do, and I'm like, I think you're Taurus rising, but let me check. And then they would be. And I'm like, you are. Or I'll know if someone's time of birth is off. Like, I'm like, that's not the energy I'm feeling from you. I don't think we have the right time. And then they'll say, oh my gosh, I told you AM and it was PM. So I'm not just a psychic. Okay. I am feeling the energy, which astrology rules everything. What's going on every day, what we have in our hearts, our emotions, our mind. The planets are changing through. The moon changes signs every 2 to 3 days. So that's why every 2 to 3 days we feel a little different emotionally. We may be tired one day. The next day we're like spastic, wanting to get everything done, So I watch the moon cycles because I can feel in myself a change in my mood,
Absolutely. Now, Hillbilly brings out a good point. He says he's Capricorn moon. I was raised to feel all my mom's emotions for her. I have major chronic wound story finishing right now. You talked a little bit about trauma and ancestral trauma. Does astrology help us with that?
Absolutely.
How does it do that?
Like, if there's a lot of placements, but like 8th and 12th, but also any transits through the 4th house of home and family, which is the house of the mother, the house of the family, but also your nodes. Like, if your nodes are in Cancer and Capricorn, the north and south node of the moon, they look like headphones. That is what we call your soul mission. So we look in the birth chart and I can see your soul mission is the north node, what sign it's in, And then that means you're meant to be like that sign and what house it's in. But people with Cancer, Capricorn, you have a Capricorn moon, Capricorn, or it could be Cancer moon, and they often have karma, because the chart is also shows our karma. Okay, what we're here to learn, what we chose to learn. It's like the teacher, Saturn energy.
Right. Right.
So as a makes sense as a Capricorn moon that you're learning, you have karma with the mother because your moon is in Capricorn. It's Saturn energy because Saturn rules Capricorn. It's like karma with the nurturing, how to nurture yourself, how your mother nurtured you. There's a wound there, and so you have to heal it. So I look at all these things and explain it, when I see your chart. But Capricorn and Cancer, I call it family karma, because it's the fourth house is the home and family house. It's your childhood, your roots, your parents, the neighbor, your own family, your husband, your kids, and whatever's going on in that house or transiting that house is going to bring up those issues. And anything in the 10th house is career, work. But people that have the nodes in Capricorn and Cancer, they often feel responsible for taking care of one of their or both of their parents in some way. Sometimes they have to move back to their childhood home, and they feel like they need to help them financially or emotionally, or it just happened to be them. So I see this in thousands of charts that I'll say these patterns I find. So anyone with Capricorn, Cancer nodes, I'd say 99.9% of the time, they say, yeah, my mother's living with me, or my dad's living with me, or I moved across the world to live with my parents to take care of them. And I mean, I see it and I know how it plays out. And that's their learning because they chose to have the nodes in Capricorn or Cancer. So it plays out in different ways. But I dig into a lot of stuff. So I call myself a psychological astrologer. So I'm not so much into, the degrees of all the stuff. Yeah, I know it. I'll highlight it as something's a special degree, or I am more about the depth and the psychological energies and patterns and karma and things that we're here to learn in our soul mission and healing. So I use it as a tool to help survivors of trauma as well and to heal. So a lot of people with eighth house planets specifically often feel traumatized by someone that they trusted. Now it can play out in many ways. This is what I started noticing. And then, could be where they feel like maybe they were abused. Maybe they remember being sexually abused, or maybe they have issues with sexuality. That's very common with intimacy. And that's because of childhood stuff. And sometimes I've had people read stuff about the eighth house that scared them. And they literally wrote me from all over the world, especially a lot of people from India, because they do astrology there, but it's a little different. It's not Western. And they would say to me, oh my gosh, they said I would die young. My life is cursed. Am I cursed? I'm like, no, you're not cursed. This is ridiculous. And so I'll help them, because a lot of people don't understand the 8th and 12th house. They just think it's bad. They're actually the best houses to have planets in, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because it makes us spiritual and deep and resilient people. And
how do you learn what each position means? Like, is this something that's historical in nature? Like, okay, your planet's here, your moon's there, how did you know?
Yeah. So the transit chart, it's kind of cool because it's really based on your rising sign. So the time of birth is very important, because if we don't have an accurate time of birth, we don't know what sign is on the first house cusp, and rising for you is what we call it. So this is an example. Anyone that's Virgo rising, okay, I'm Virgo rising. We have similar transits going on in our life. We have a similar journey. That's what they call the rising signs, like the soul's journey, right? So that means all those planets, even though different year, those planets are going to be in a certain house transiting because of the rising signs being similar. Like I just did a few charts for people with Virgo rising where I had already been through Pluto in my 4th, and it's in my 5th, and they're in it now. it's like depending on the degrees and the time of birth, the place of birth, it'll shift a little. But there's a similar lessons that some people will never live to see a Pluto in the fourth house transit. That's not their mission. And it has to do with the rising sign, okay, in your chart. So it has to do with having the whole wheel. So like, like White, I know someone that had Pluto through the 12th. I'm never going to experience that because that's not my destiny. So it has to do with your chart. If you have Saturn going, Saturn moves quickly, like it's like a 2 to 3 year transit. So Saturn kind of moves around, and we may all experience Saturn in all the houses. But those outer planets like Pluto, Neptune is 12 to 14 years to transit. It takes a long time. Uranus is like 7 to 8 year transit through each house. So yeah.
Historically, though, who designed the astrological chart? Like, I'm interested to know.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I know the Aztecs and the Mayans were into it.
yeah.
Who was the originator of the?
Yeah.
Like, how did it come to be?
Well, that's a whole nother. We'd have a whole nother show.
Yeah,
If you guys look up Hellenistic astrology,
right. I've heard of that.
yeah, it's kind of like the ancient, like how astrology came into where it is now from to the West. How it came across the continents. How it spread across the world. It's a lot. It's in depth. I mean, I am not a total expert in that, but what I do know is that astrology is in the Bible.
Yeah.
Astrology has been throughout history in many ways, like the harvest, watching our ancestors, started watching these signs, back when there
Yeah.
were eclipses. They were scared to death. They thought the
Oh,
world
yeah.
was ending when there was eclipse, because they didn't know what an eclipse was, because we didn't have the technology or the science. So, but if think about it, the story of Jesus, a lot of that, there's astrology symbols hidden within the Bible. And I've always heard that the Catholic Church has the largest astrological library in the world.
I heard that too.
And the Pope, I also heard, Pope has an astrologer, especially in ancient time, because that's the thing. Astrology is energy, and it works because it was created by God. It was created, it exists in our whole solar system. This solar system, we don't know that there's other universes out there. Exactly. Lots of different things.
Yeah.
But they followed the stars, the star to find Jesus, right? Then
Oh, yeah.
Jesus, the cool thing is Jesus said, I always look at the astrological things in the Bible. He said, the disciples asked, when will you return? And he said, follow the man with the alabaster jar in the house he dwells. The man with the alabaster jar is Aquarius.
Right.
And look what we're in. We're in the age of Aquarius right now, guys, with all of the Pluto and Aquarius, all this technology, AI, all of this stuff is happening. He said this to them, the man without, follow him where he dwells. Then he said, there shall be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. That's what he said.
Yeah, Carrie's right. The God of our universe created the zodiac Messiah. So true. So it's just deciphering it and
Yes.
understanding it. And that's where people like you come in to help
Yeah.
us do that.
And I have people tell me, I want to learn to do what you don't want to do. The biggest thing, you can spend your life, the whole life studying astrology and still not know it all. That's
Exactly.
why I love it. There's so many types and kinds in different charts and different histories and different techniques, and you can spend your life learning it. And that's why I love it. I'm always learning something new. Like, I'm not a total expert on everything, but I know the 8th and 12th houses. That's where my specialty. And I know how to use the chart to heal. And my goal is to teach astrology on such a basic level that anyone can understand what I'm saying and want to learn it and open up to it, because people get overwhelmed with it because they think it's a lot of math. It's a lot of, technical stuff, and they don't want that. That's why I don't go that route when I teach it. I teach it as a psychological tool, the archetypes, the energies, the patterns, I make it fun. And when I write my books, they're very easy to read. You don't have to be an astrologer to know what I'm saying. I have some books that I'm like, whoa, I cannot even make it through this book because it's too technological. I'm not that kind of technology astrologer that I'm like, this is square this degree and this. No. that I know what that stuff is and means, but I don't focus fully on all those little bitty things. I focus on the map of your soul and your soul's journey, and I
Oh, I
bring
love that.
the Akashic records into it,
Oh, nice.
because your Akashic records, I just have the, and this is based on, I call it experience, but research. When I see something Akashic record, it is validated in your birth chart almost 100% of the time. Just like today, I saw something in the lady's record and I told her, and it matched her birth chart. She was an artist and she can paint and all this stuff. And I saw her painting and all this in there. I did not know her. I never met with her before. You can see this. It's all destiny. Like,
Now,
people,
you tap into the records before you do a reading or while you do a
while I
reading?
do,
Yeah.
yeah, while I do, I just, they're naturally there, and I just see images. It's like I call the life seal, like Edgar Casey. I study a lot of his work
Yeah.
and the symbols. I'm very visual. So
Yeah.
I'll see a symbol, or I'll see you doing something, and I'll just tell you, hey, I'm seeing this. I don't know where. And they're like, oh my gosh, and people will validate for me. And so I've been trusting myself more to share those
Sure.
things, because I
Yeah.
used to hide behind the astrology chart. I didn't used to really share my intuition, which I do have, but now I've learned how to do both,
Oh, good, because that connects so
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
That we're like here, in the midst of this spiritual awakening, we're seeing evil and darkness so much more clearly now than ever before. Is that an eighth and a 12th house thing that we're good, that all of us, like, cosmically are experiencing?
Um, I think that a lot of what's going on is this is Pluto into Aquarius is causing a lot of
Is
these
that
things.
right?
Yeah, because it's if Pluto is meant to destroy and transform and help us heal and grow, but
Mhm.
in Aquarius it's about rebelling, going against tradition, doing things differently,
Yeah.
thinking about humanity as a whole. How do we help society? How do we help humanity? How do we help the group consciousness? Like, that's why it's just like this explosion of, how do we take care of the world, the food, the environment? All of these things are like in the
Yeah.
forefront. And AI, all this stuff is it's Aquarian. AI, robots, all
Yeah,
of
it
this is
really does
exploding.
point to that. And then we had Three
Yeah,
Eye Atlas, that
yeah.
whole thing too. This
Yes.
blew my mind because I grew up with that song, The Age of Aquarius.
Yeah, yeah.
And the lyrics, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and peace will,
Yeah.
thank you
Dawning
for
of the
that, hillbilly.
dawning of the age. Now, let me tell you guys a big event that's coming up this month in just a couple weeks here. Um, Astrologically, a lot of astrologers, they're trying to predict what's going to happen, because we haven't really been around to see this event.
Mm,
So what it is the planets Saturn and Neptune have been in Pisces for many years. Okay,
yes.
in the sky. That means they stay in the same sign for a long, long time. I think since 2011. I have to look. It's something like that. They are both moving into Aries. One already is, and both will be in Aries at 0 degrees Aries. Degrees is like the start. 0 degrees is the start of the zodiac. It's like a whole
Ah,
new beginning of something, a whole new rebirth, an end of something, an end of an era, and a whole new
when is this
rebirth.
now, Carmen?
This happens the week of the 16th through 20th of February. It's coming up this
Because
month.
I've heard people talking about the 20th of February, the 20th of February,
Yeah, that's
something's
why.
coming. The 20, is that
Yeah.
what they're talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, we'll be feeling it that week, but yes, it's when those planets go at 0 degrees Aries and they're conjunct, those two, because no one really knows what is going to happen, but we know what astrology says. There's going to be a whole new beginning of something.
Hmm.
So I've been listening to other astrologers too, and they're like, guys, get ready. It could be something positive. It's not always going to be negative, but
Yeah, I've heard people predicting the end of the financial markets, the way that we, into digital money, and it's like
Yeah.
it's going to be in
Yeah.
the financial direction. Who
They're
knows? Maybe they will, turn us into a digital society
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what's happening, and the money is
Yeah.
just what's,
Yeah. Well, you know what they said, that's the thing is the energies. Yeah, like I agree with what she said. Like things are going to happen. Like she said, no one knows the time. The energies are there, but the
yeah.
moment
Oh,
it
talking
happens,
about Carrie. Yeah.
you're not going to be able to predict the exact moment, but we will be feeling these energies. Let me say that because they're happening in the sky. But I think what it's going to do is it was funny because I just heard Elon Musk was on this podcast and they said, what keeps him up at night? He said AI. And
True.
he even said on there that we won't need to work and we won't be using money.
I heard that. That's very scary stuff.
That's very Aquarian, Pluto in
Yeah.
Aquarius. Like, whoa.
I don't know, maybe somebody is reading his chart and telling him what's going on. I wanted to ask you this question before when Heidi posed it. She uses apps, Astro Matrix, Astro Noble, and are they good to use? And thank you, Heidi, because
Sure, absolutely.
I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, you can get your birth chart. Any app that lets you calculate your birth will, absolutely. And and there's apps. Stephen Forrest has a new app. He just put out there, and he's been astrologer for a long time. I got his book back in the 90s. He's amazing. He has a new app he launched too. If you look up Stephen Forrest, that you can look up everything on the phone. I'm more of I like the desktop. I do have some apps, but for astrology, I just look on my.
Yeah, I like seeing it on the big on a big screen. I'm not much of an astrologer. I mean, I even have those apps. Some of them are cool. You can point them at the sky and they tell you where all the stars are. Stargazer.
Yeah, that one.
Those
Yeah,
are
that's
great too. Those are kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to talk for the rest of the time we have left about ET. Now, it's like this orb phenomenon is really, I mean, you've got Chris Bledsoe, which I'm sure you've heard
I
of
love
him.
him. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And yes, he's got something big brewing too. Supposedly we're gonna get like some type of message from the heavens, according to him. Something ethereal is going to take place. I don't know. He's very vague about it.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing that some of these orbs are not angelic, but they're rather demonic. What's your take on any of that stuff?
So I think the Catholic Church, I mean, I know the Catholic perspective is that aliens, they teach, I know from my Catholic friends that they teach them that aliens are demons.
Right.
That aliens, that all those are demons. But I don't know if I believe that. So let me tell you, when I started seeing these orbs, I went to the ARE, Edgar Casey Foundation in Virginia Beach, years after, when I was older, and I went to an orbs and ET's conference. And when I went to that, I was freaked out because of me seeing the orbs. They had research that people that had seen orbs, that their psychic abilities awakened during that time, or they had these abilities after.
I believe that.
And I will say that I didn't really dream things that happened and have the extent of weirdness that I am until after I saw that orb when I was 16. I always was different. In my mom's city when I was little, I would have imaginary friends and all this play, and I'd be talking to someone in the closet when I was little and no one was there. My cousins told me this. I don't remember any of that, but but I've had dreams about aliens. I've seen a UFO. I don't talk about it a lot, but I did. It was in 1995. And it wasn't like you think, like a saucer shaped silver. It was like the sky opened up, yellow, glowing, like a big saucer covering the entire skyline. I saw it in my rearview mirror as I'm getting ready to get off the exit ramp in my hometown. In 1995, I was on I-44 in Missouri. My friend was with me. She's my witness. She saw it too. She got scared. I got out of the car and other cars pulled out, and I stood underneath this thing, and other people are watching it. And
Wow.
before my eyes, this thing that took up the entire highway sky, and it was a full moon, it was a bright night. It wasn't, it was huge. And it was a saucer shaped light of yellow.
Oh my goodness.
And in a matter of seconds, that thing, it's like it shrunk into a dot and disappeared within, and it was gone.
And I've heard of them like that before.
Yeah,
I've
it
heard of
wasn't a ship flying around with blinking lights. It didn't,
Yeah.
fly around. It didn't, it was like it just went into another dimension, like it just gone.
And I believe that, as Michelle said, seeing orbs opened up her spiritual sight. I believe there's a connection. I want to share something with you guys.
Yeah.
I've been living in this home for over 21 years, and I have cameras everywhere. I'm a big security bug, especially since my husband passed away. I have cameras everywhere.
I don't blame you.
And I'm always looking at the footage, and I have never seen anything like this. So I'm going to show you guys. Let me play this for you. It's pretty short. These are my orbs that I
saw.
So there's one that's floating around up here, as you can see. It's kind of deciding where to go. And then two more come up out of the ground. See, here comes another one.
Huh.
Here comes another one. And they seem like they have a direction.
Yeah.
It's the strangest thing that I've ever witnessed in terms of my cameras, in terms of orbs. And I know a lot of folks in the chat too have seen orbs like that. And I really believe that they have a purpose when you see them, that it's meaningful. It doesn't have to be UFO connected.
Sure.
It could be someone maybe deceased is visiting you, like you saw in your hallway. That might have been your best friend there that passed away, right?
That's what exactly I thought about that years later. It never, and let me tell you about this other place. It's in Ohio. It's called the Serpent Mound. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. You look it up.
Yep.
My friend, we used to go there, but I had some friends, they go out there and they do energy healing and Reiki years ago when I lived there. They took massive amounts of pictures, photography, and everywhere were glowing yellow orbs all over the whole land where they were. In every image on their huge lights.
Crazy.
They did not fake it. And that land, there's something with these ancient sites, I think, that have the energy or land. Maybe they're portals, maybe they're ways into different dimensions. We call it, I always call it, the astral, when I studied the Kabbalah a little bit, and then I was trying to make sense of my own experiences, when I would wake up and I'd be in this I was awake, but I was still in my bed, and I would look and see someone, and then I scream, and then I'm back. I realized that, because when we dream, they say we leave our body when we dream.
Oh, definitely.
We have the silver cord or whatever. And so we travel, we dream walk, we travel in these different,
I do every night. Yeah.
We all
do.
Yeah, it's the astral realm. So the reason we can have these experiences of see certain things that we get, it's like we see through the veil, so to speak, is because the astral realm is right above the earth realm, Malkuth, in the tree of life, in the ancient Kabbalah. So it's the easiest, lowest realm to connect with. But it can also, have not the best.
You got to watch out for the lower realms.
Yeah.
You do. You got to watch out for them. Definitely.
The is way up there where, where the creator is. It's like, oh my gosh, but astrology is also in the Kabbalah, the tree of life, the different,
and there you go,
planets rule the different, are associated with the different spheres and dimensions. So I feel like everything has a lot of connection, just like tarot. Astrology is in the major arcana. The signs in the planets are associated.
Do you read tarot at all or no?
Yeah, on myself. Yeah, I don't do. I used to do it for others years ago, but no, I have all my cards. Yeah, I have all my cards.
I used to do that too years and years ago, and I stopped doing it for a multitude of reasons. But so you think these orbs are mostly angelic? I mean, is that your sense of them?
All right, how do I say this? It's kind of controversial.
Because demons are tricksters. We know they
Yeah,
exist.
yeah. I think that, let me say this. I'm open-minded, and I think that there's a lot to, if you just look at the story in the Bible, there's a lot of strangeness, okay?
Yes.
So, and then you look at ancient Indian cultures, the star people they talk about that came
Yeah.
from above and they
Oh,
mingled.
yeah.
We have the story of the Nephilim that fell to earth to mate with humans and made half man, half humans, right? And then apparently Noah or God flooded the earth, and the Noah story comes to get
Yeah.
because he was upset about. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so I think that it's possible that another species or another, God created, something that came and made us who we are. That our genes and DNA might be, I don't know, altered. I don't know what
I
to
know.
say.
I agree
I,
with that. I really do.
I don't
You
want to
don't know.
say
We
they're
could have
demons.
Nephilim DNA.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know if I don't really believe they're demons. I don't know if I don't believe that. What I believe is, okay, think of this. When Jesus, they went up to the mound. Okay, first of all, Mary got pregnant, immaculate conception.
Right.
Okay, they're up. He healed people, had abilities. He walked on water, all these things, right? They went up. I believe these are real stories. I believe these things happened.
Absolutely.
He was
Absolutely.
special. I totally believe this. They went up on the mount, and he came out of the sky in a white light when they were up on this, and it could have been a ship. I mean, I don't know.
It could have been.
I
Absolutely.
started thinking this
Absolutely.
stuff. I was
Look at the book
analyzing
of
it.
Enoch. I mean, you've got the whole book of Enoch.
Yes.
Plus, Jesus said so many things that
Mhm.
we need to start taking seriously. Like, you will do greater things than I, he said. You're capable of doing greater
Mhm.
things than I.
Mhm. Signs in the
And
sun, moon, and stars. If the sun, moon,
absolutely.
and stars did not affect us, why would he tell us the disciples to watch for the signs in the sun, moon, and stars?
And think of how vast the universe is. We only know a fraction of it.
Yeah. I mean,
A tiny fraction.
they're trying to go to Mars and build cities on Mars.
It's
There's a
crazy.
lot that I think they know that we don't know. Like, okay,
There
for
is.
like they, the UFO thing at Congress now. They're trying to, unleash the UFO
Oh,
files. They're
yeah.
still not telling us everything. The Air Force pilots that have testified of
Oh,
what they
tons
have
of them.
seen, they there is something out there that is beyond our universe or able to come in portal throughout. We don't understand it because we can't technologically, or
That's
we're
right.
not
We can't.
advanced enough to travel like that.
Right.
So does it mean that they're demons? No, it means maybe the creator created other people on other
Absolutely.
solar systems. I mean,
But I do believe that there are demonic forces just as there's light, and
there's light
light
and
has
dark.
angels, and
Absolutely.
it's
Yes.
the yin and the yang of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So I think that in protecting ourselves, we need to protect ourselves from these demonic voices all the
Yeah.
time. Whatever you need to do, ground yourself with your lower chakra, your grounding chakra,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
yourself in a golden light bulb, protection bubble, whatever you need to do. Pray. You have to protect yourself because there are demonic
Yeah.
forces out there, and there are tricksters that can
Yes.
pretend to be UFOs and to be orbs, and they're not.
Yeah.
And they love our loosh. They love the
Yeah.
energy that we could give. So
Yeah.
we need to protect ourselves. And I think it's
Yes.
just a good way to look at life and say, I need to always be grounded in protection and love.
Absolutely. It is. It's about our intentions, and I say raising our vibration. Because
Yes, raise
somebody,
your vibration.
because I had a lot of eighth house people that had felt like they had been psychically attacked or
Ah,
had
yeah.
something negative like really happened to them, and I talk about that because like if we're depressed and our mood and our thoughts are negative,
Yes.
we're more at risk of attracting negative energy or whatever.
Absolutely spot on. And a
Yeah.
lot of people will unintentionally psychically attack you too,
Yes.
out of
Yeah.
jealousy, rage, whatever their emotion
Absolutely.
is, because their energy is so big and it's being projected maybe unintentionally onto you too. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. That's 8th and 12th house people are, I call us mirrors. So
Yes.
people want to come and be around us for healing, but then they project their anger, they project all their problems onto
Right.
us. It's unconscious. It's not that they
Right. It's
really
not
are
like they're
seeing
doing
it.
it intentionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because again,
Absolutely.
we see the good in people.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to think people are intentionally
Sure.
doing these things. Although there are some, there are
Yeah.
some people out there that do stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But you're right. You were spot on about both
Yeah.
of those houses. And
Yeah.
last time I had you on the show, I wanted to schedule a reading. I have to go do that. Like I'm going to send you an
Yeah.
email today
Yeah. Use
to
Phoenix
schedule. I
Angel. Phoenix
really
Angel.
have
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phoenix Angel code, and everybody can get 50% off. Phoenix Angel, capital P, capital A.
Yeah, make sure you guys note that because that's a huge discount. I'm going to be definitely scheduling with you
Cool.
today to
Let's
do
see.
that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I think
Lovely.
there's so much you can learn about yourself,
Yeah.
about your future, how to
Yeah.
protect and ground yourself.
Yeah.
And your knowledge is just
Thank you.
outstanding. I
Thank
mean, it's
you.
so
Thanks for
apparent. It's
thanks.
always such a joy. And
Yeah.
don't forget,
I'd love to
folks.
come back again if you want me.
Oh,
Phoenix Angels.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You've got to read this book. It's incredible. It'll really put you in touch with your karmic energy, your planets. I mean, it just goes through everything.
Yeah.
It's like having a reading at your fingertips all the time. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So tell us
Thank you.
about some of your other books that you've written. We
Sure.
talked about your
Mhm.
what was that book that we talked about the first time?
Your astrological
That's
energy.
it.
That's my newest one. And it just came out in August, and it's an in-depth it's a basic guide, but it's this thick. I talk about transits. I make it all make sense. Every chapter is dedicated to one of the 12 signs, the planets in the sign, planets in the house, planets in the transit. And then, but my first book that I self-published that's out there is the Mysteries of the Eighth House, Phoenix Rising. That was based on my own experience in an article that I wrote.
Mhm.
And I ended up, people from all over the world started writing me saying that they felt like that was their experience. And that's when I really started. This is 2002, gathering stories and emails and people from all over the world. And I wrote this book. I actually put their emails in the book so you could see what they said to me. And I talk about the key things of the eighth house. And that was my first book when I really first started seeing the patterns. And so it's I think it's down. It's like
Look
where
at all the books you've
there it
written.
is. That's my first one, The Mysteries of the Eighth House, Phoenix. That's one of my
Oh,
best sellers, and it was my first research, and then the mysteries or the 12th house mysteries, Fallen Angels. I published with the publisher, and it was about my 12th house experience, and I share a lot of my own stuff in there. And then the Phoenixes and Angels, I kind of brought them together to give more tips and more stories from people. And this is kind of a merge of both houses together.
yeah, this was the
Mhm.
one we talked
Yeah,
about, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the astrology's magical nodes of the moon is about the nodes of the moon, which are also mission in the chart. What sign they're in, what house they're in, is why your soul is here. When you do a consult with me, I get into that a lot. But if you want to learn more about it, that's also a good book. And then one of my favorite books is Sun Signs, Houses, and Healing, because I that was my first published book with a publisher, and it's really easy read and very tips on healing, self-care. I wish people would really get that one because I worked hard on that. It was one of my favorite books. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
So this helps you heal, transform, and strengthen yourself,
Yes.
uniting sun sign personality traits with the astrological power of the 12th house. Oh, you love that 12th house and eighth, don't you? That's great. That's great.
Got
So you
everything.
have classes and events. I know I catch
I
you
do.
sometimes
I do.
teaching.
I got two coming up. Next week, I'm doing a Phoenixes and Angels virtual workshop for NCGR.
Well,
And if
where's
you want
that on
it,
here?
it's right up here, right there. NCGR presentation. You can
Oh,
register.
here.
Yep, you can go on my website and you can click it and register. It's only $10 for non-members, and you
Oh,
can be
wow.
in my workshop. That I have slides. I have a whole thing about all of the 8th and 12th house more in depth than I went in on the show. But if you want to learn more, and then past lives in astrology, I'm doing a 3-session course about the nodes of the moon, and we're going to dive deep. I'll be looking at all the classes, everybody's charts. It's virtual. It's hosted by the College of Psychic Studies. They host me.
Oh, wow.
They have me teach classes a lot. I'm teaching one right now about activating your psychic abilities with astrology. I'm doing it for 5 weeks right now. This is my upcoming 3 Saturdays in March. We meet from 12 to 2 Central, or, whatever time zone you're on. And you
Is
come on.
that one expensive, Carmen?
They give me a percentage, so I don't get the full
Oh,
price.
I see. I
But
got
it's
you.
not too bad. No, for three sessions, and you get two and a half hours each time with me, and I dive deep with everybody. I give you handouts. We do a lot. It's fun. You can read my feedback on their website for my classes. So
Oh, I'll check into that. And then,
yeah,
of course, you
yeah,
have a free ebook here as well.
yes, yes.
Very nice. And then you've got your little podcast
Oh
section
yes.
here.
Yes, every Sunday I have a show on KMET about the astrological energy of the week. So I kind of give you, hey, this is what's going on this week. This is what sign the moon is in. You might feel like this. These are some things that, transits going on, and give you a weekly, energy astrology update, so to speak. Sometimes I
Nice.
have guests and astrology guests or other astrology authors, and I'll highlight their book and we'll chat. And so the
And then
show's
you can contact Carmen right here as well.
yeah. And if you go to
Wonderful.
consultations page, you can pick one with me, and then it'll have you book. It'll have you put information in, and at the bottom it'll say coupon code. If
Oh, okay.
you put Phoenix Angel, capital P, capital A in there, it'll take 50% off any consult
Wonderful.
with me. Yeah, so
Oh, so they'll just pick a date and
yeah,
fill.
yeah.
Okay,
I
wonderful.
have times
Great.
available, all that. So it's
Very
easy.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I showed folks that. That's so
Thank
great.
you.
We
Yeah,
learned so much today.
thank
I
you.
can't believe almost 2 hours went by. It's
I know.
always such a joy to talk to you. And thank you, everyone in the chat. You guys rock. You are my strength during the show. Thank you for
I love
your
it.
comments, your questions. They're an amazing group, aren't they? I just adore when they pop in. Um, and of course, email Carmen with any questions that you
Yeah.
might have. She's such an amazing resource. One of the best astrologers I think
Thank
I've
you.
ever interviewed.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. I
Thank
will be
you.
in touch for 2 reasons. I'm going to
Okay.
schedule you again because
Okay.
we're booking all the way
Ooh,
into
okay.
April.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
So I'm going to
Okay.
get you a slot. We'll
Okay.
pick another book to talk about some
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Let's do it.
And I will be in touch soon. Thank
Okay.
you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Such a blessing. Thank
Thank you
you.
all. Thank you.
Bye bye, dear. Wow, she is one of my favorite guests in the astrology arena. She's amazing. So, as we come to a close, it's just amazing that you can learn so much about yourself, about your 8th house, your 12th house, where you fit in this universe, your divine assistance that we all get, help people understand that awakening is not a flaw in the system, but it's the system itself. I used to think that I was always like the weird one, the strange one. And I think we're the normal ones. I think we're the ones that are absolutely the normal folks, and everybody should strive to be like us and have compassion and live in a world of love and spirituality. Thank you all so much in the chat. I adore each and every one of you. I will see you next Wednesday. Have a blessed and wonderful upcoming weekend. Take care, guys. Bye bye.